Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry. And this is Adrian Reads Harry Potter. Yeah.
I filed papers.
Did you?
Hate all of you.
Oh, I thought you were divorcing me. Papers?
It's essentially the same thing.
Getting the papers served? It's okay.
Papers with
These are some decent chapters, though. We got some stuff going on here we can talk
The
about.
first one, I would say, maybe there was some stuff going on. The second one, not so much, which is ironic because it was a wedding.
Okay.
And you had a pop at the end. You had one line little
There was a
zinger.
good pop at the end, but no, I think Chapter 7, there's plenty to talk about there, plenty to be discussed. But anyway, this is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 7 and Chapter 8, The Will of Albus Dumbledore and the Wedding. A little bit of a rundown on these, just so we know what we're talking about. Chapter 7, we have Happy Birthday, Harry. We celebrate the man's 17th birthday, and he receives a number of gifts. Couple gifts of mention. Ron gives him a lovely book called 12 Fail-Safe Ways to Charm Witches. I figured you'd want to talk about that.
Yeah, I've got that highlighted.
Yep. But more importantly, Dumbledore has left gifts to all the kids. To Ron, a Deluminator. To Hermione, the Tales of Beetle the Bard. And to Harry, the first golden snitch he ever caught. And the Sword of Godric Gryffindor. And we have no idea why.
Yeah, I've got some questions about the snitch. I don't understand that, I guess. It opens up. We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that. Anyway, Chapters 8, the wedding. Wedding time, obviously. Harry is disguised as Cousin Barney. We get to meet Luna Lovegood's father. Victor Crumb is there. He's very concerned about the xenophilius. I believe that's how it'd be pronounced. That Mr. Lovegood's wearing. So I figured you'd want to talk about that a little bit.
Xenophilius is his name.
The necklace that he's wearing.
Right.
What did I say?
You said the xenophilius that he's wearing.
I'm done. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, the necklace that he's wearing, because that is a symbol of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald. Figure there's some symbology going on you'd like with that there. And we find out who the mysterious Gregorovich is that Harry was dreaming about in the previous chapter.
Yeah.
Another wand maker that Voldemort seems to be out for. So I figure we talk a little bit about that. And then we find out that the Minister of Magic is dead, the Ministry has been compromised, and chaos is about to ensue. Adrian, where do you want to start?
Page 113. This isn't your average book, said Ron, speaking of the gift he gave to Harry. It's pure gold. 12 fail-safe ways to charm witches. Explains everything you need to know about girls. If only I'd had this last year, I'd have known exactly how to get rid of Lavender, and I would have known how to get going with... Well, Fred and George gave me a copy, and I've learned a lot. You'd be surprised. It's not all about wand work, either. Obvious sexual reference, but this is obviously 12 fail-safe ways to charm witches. This is obviously a Jordan Peterson reference with 12 rules for life, an antidote to chaos.
Congratulations, our YouTube channel just got shut down.
Yeah, it's obviously a reference to this text because I know that Peterson was in print before J.K. Rowling wrote this book. But the thing about, it's not all about wand work either.
Yeah. See, okay. There's multiple ways we can take this. Obviously, it's a book on how to pick up girls. It's something a 17-year-old boy would find interest in.
Sure.
We can admit that. But you had to throw in the line about the wand.
Well,
really?
Charm witches. Charm in this world is also not, boy, I sure am a charming individual,
no, it's not.
Is it? So this is a super rapey text.
Yep. Absolutely. But at least you'll know what to do if you ever get put in that situation. Isn't that great, Harry?
Get put in that situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, I hadn't thought about this. In the next chapter, I'm assuming the individual which Harry Potter sits down to talk to and is interrupted by the older lady, that's the individual that J.K. Rowling is claiming was Albus Dumbledore's partner?
The older gentleman at the wedding?
Yeah.
I thought he was interrupted by Aunt Muriel, is it?
Right.
Okay.
But she has said since writing the text that she always pictured Albus Dumbledore as gay.
No, that is not who she's referring to.
Oh, that's not who she's... Okay, I was going to say that would... It seemed like an inference could be made at their relationship because he was bemoaning so many things and seemed so close to Dumbledore. But it raises the question for me, in light of that and this paragraph we just read, I don't know why this is striking me just now. is Harry Potter an accurately written 17-year-old boy? Now, the only reason I'm asking that, and that I think it might be a fair question, is because in our education, we were prompted several times to question whether or not a male writer had written a female protagonist well enough to be accurate. This is one of the sticky points about representation.
Okay.
Right? So if I were to write a book full of straight white male characters, I will get questioned for diversity, right?
Yes.
But if I were to just in the editing process make one of those characters black, I could also be questioned for authenticity.
Yes.
So that's a double-pronged thing there, right? Like if you throw diversity in just to have diversity, authenticity is going to get questioned. Well, also along the same lines, if I make one of my characters just weird, like this is just a weird guy, and they're all straight white male characters, then it's just a weird character. But if that weird character happens to be a black character, it gets questioned whether or not I am representing all blacks in this fashion, right?
Okay.
Harry Potter, is he written accurately as a 17-year-old boy?
In the question of did a female writer accurately depict this? I believe like you could have cases for both in this, and it would actually denote a little research. You'd have to read the text with that in mind. So the reason I'm prompting this now is he gets this book. So she went later and said, well, I always pictured Dumbledore as gay. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, you don't get credit for that because it's not in the text, right? Not that it has to be overtly in the text, but you don't get credit for diversity when you're just saying later, oh, well,
yeah,
yeah, that totally. It was in my mind.
So I thought that there was some dalliance, perhaps, with the man in Chapter 8 and Dumbledore, that could be read in. Harry Potter is gifted a book, How to Charm Witches. Or witches?
Yes, How to Charm Witches.
How to Charm Witches. Do we ever see... Do we see Harry Potter responding to this text excitedly? He's questioning it. What's going on here?
Okay.
B, do we ever really see Harry Potter... We see him fawn over Cho a little bit.
We do.
But we don't see him having romantic interests, really.
No, we don't. And even in this very chapter, I mean, Ginny kind of pulls him to the side, you know, here's your birthday present, young man.
Yeah.
It lays a big old kiss on him.
Which, again, super rapey.
Yeah.
Right? Hermione said, hey, pal, come here. We're going to drag you into this room. I'm going to watch. It's okay for me to watch. Ron can't.
Now, this is where we get into an interesting part here. Sorry, I was looking for something. The idea of, well, believe it or not, Adrian, I was once a 17-year-old boy.
What?
Can I speak for every 17-year-old boy? Absolutely not. But I can speak on my personal experience.
Exactly, and that is the sticky part of something like representation in a text. Is that character, say Dumbledore were overtly homosexual, mm-hmm. Would Dumbledore's actions in the text be read as representative of all homosexuals? So if, at the end, remember that scene where I said, you know, if I were writing this, Dumbledore, he's alone in the ship with Dumbledore, Dumbledore would come out as a bad guy here.
Okay.
He'd reveal himself as, hey, I'm in league with Moldavort, right? Remember that part?
I do.
If he is an overtly gay character and that happens, does that become... J.K. Rowling saying whatever you want to... I mean, gays are all evil, or gays are all manipulative, or gays are all... Okay. You know what I mean?
Does the...
Oh, I'm sorry, you were making a point about...
Was I? Really?
Yeah, I was a 17-year-old boy once. I can't speak for all, but...
Oh, would this be an accurate description? I was kind of going along with that. I mean, well, you know, possibly there are some things I could agree with. There's some things I...
Right, and here's another thing. Here's another thing.
Yeah.
So, when I was 17... I was hot on the trails of anything, right?
Absolutely.
So, but that's stereotypical.
It is stereotypical.
So if you put that in the text as stereotypical, then it becomes degrading as well. So that's the problem with trying to read texts in that way.
It is. It's difficult. It's difficult to do, and can it be mastered? Absolutely not, because there's a lot of things that have to be taken into account.
Like there was a text a couple of years ago, maybe it was just last year, I don't remember, me without you or me before you or something like that. And spoilers, if Jojo Moyes, I believe, mm-hmm. Apparently, spoilers, so if you haven't read the text and you plan to, click off or, you know, give us the finger or something. there is a character who is in a wheelchair, I believe. I haven't read the text, but there was a large outcry because at the end of the text, I believe he commits suicide. And a lot of people were saying, you know, what does this mean? Does this mean because I am disabled, or I don't know if that's the proper nomenclature, but I want to be sensitive to the nomenclature, but that I should be suicidal, or that my life is without worth or merit and I should kill myself? And the answer is always no. That is that character's decision.
Yeah.
That character made that decision, and literature is the process whereby we look at the actions of the character and derive something for ourselves. Yeah. It is not prescriptive. The character's actions are not prescriptive. So that's sort of the big danger with how do we read these things.
Okay. Interesting point. And it would denote a good reading in that light to say if we could agree with that or not. But again, like you said, it is a difficult topic to tackle. Let's talk a little bit about some gifts that we received here. I want to tackle some good points here, some big things we need to talk about. So, gifts, mainly for the kids that they received. The Deluminator, Tales of Beetle the Bard, the Golden Snitch, and the Sword of Godric Gryffindor. What are you feeling about that?
It is some magical stew on how to defeat Moldavort.
Think so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, I don't know what. The snitch apparently opens up, but I don't know if we were ever aware of that as an audience, that the snitch will open.
No, I don't think it was ever made aware until Scrimgeour came out and said, well, you know, by that first flesh contact, I mean, you have that connection with it.
Yeah, which I feel there's something...
Something more to it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it opens up, and we get a note that says, I open at the close. So a very cryptic message.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
God damn it. We get a cryptic message from the grave, if you will. We get a children's book given to Hermione, and the assumption is because she likes books, maybe this is just like a rare text or something, but Ron seems familiar with the tales. We'll see where that goes. And Ron gets a Deluminator, which seems to be kind of a Dumbledore invention to remove light from a room.
Yeah, in a limited space.
In a limited space.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I could see the ideal, these are tools to defeat Voldemort, and obviously the Sword of Godric Gryffindor seems to be the biggest concern. So we will see where that goes. Let's keep them in mind, since you don't have any forward-moving idea where this is going to go so far.
Yeah, not so far. Okay. I open at the close. I wonder if there's something, like if it's not I open at the close, but I open at the close, or something like that. Okay. You know, one of these small little deals with language.
I like to think that this is a direct ripoff of Tolkien. We did read Tolkien. Do you remember the big cryptic message, you know, speak, friend, and enter?
Oh.
Yeah, which is a huge, huge thing in trope fantasy literature. So let's be honest, this is just totally stolen from that. It's the riddle. Yeah, whatever. Chapter 8, let's talk about that a little bit. How do you feel about Mr. Lovegood?
I've got one point to make on... Oh, no, this is an 8. But before we get to the big stuff, just a small thing.
Certainly.
On 138, the muggle whose appearance he was affecting was slightly fatter than him, and his dress robes felt hot and tight in the full glare of the summer's day. This is fat-shaming, JK. Be better than that.
Again? Back to the fat-shaming?
It's not me being back to the fat-shaming. It's in the text.
Okay.
This is not... I'm not doing this.
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll be told that we are incorrect about that, so that's fine. Let's talk about...
I'm sure you will be told that we are incorrect about that.
I do feel the comments. But by proxy... You're incorrect. Let's just get that out of the way now.
I'm sure.
Anyway, let's talk about Mr. Lovegood. How are you feeling about him?
Yeah,
little quirky individual.
A very quirky individual.
Kind of guy who wears tie-dye to a wedding.
Or filming.
Yep.
His name. Xenophilius. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
It's a little phallic, in a way.
Is it? No.
You don't think so?
What does it mean? What does xenophobic mean?
A xenophobic fear of what specifically?
Foreigners.
Okay.
Yeah. What is a bibliophile?
One who
loves
books. One who loves foreigners?
That seems to be the reference.
Weird, the bizarre, the foreign?
It seems to be the reference of the name there.
Okay, in that aspect, I mean, when you break it down like that, I can get behind it. He is a quirky individual. He's kind of weird. Good for you, JK.
Maybe.
Now break it down why you don't like it.
Well, this is someone who's constantly culturally appropriating.
Okay.
I think that Harry is probably right in this chapter that the old boy doesn't have any idea what that symbol on his neck means.
Okay.
But I saw it, and I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to nick it.
All right.
Which is what white people do, right? We've got no culture of our own. We just steal others.
Okay. Let's talk about that symbol around his neck. Any thoughts on that? The symbol of the Dark Wizard.
It looks like the Illuminati symbol, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty similar.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Was there something
you don't get anything? Okay, so who is immediately offended by this symbol?
Oh, the foreigner.
The foreigner. Of which nationality would we say the foreigner is associated with? We can't
He
give like
is Near Eastern to Middle Eastern.
You think?
Right?
I'd say more Germanic.
Well, so like East Germany.
Possibly.
Right.
Okay. So we have a man wearing a symbol of a Dark Lord that he has no idea what it means. It means something different to him, obviously.
Oh, are you talking about the swastika reference?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But see, this is why I would say that he is not German, because J.K. Rowling seems to be not making any mystery of the fact that the Dark Lords are Nazi-ish, right?
True.
So this would cast him as Mid-Eastern to Near Eastern, the Russian type, Kazakhstan type.
Yes.
That general area is, and that's sort of how I've always read him, which is, so this is the troubling part about, what's his name?
Who are you speaking of? The Dark Lord or the man he's speaking to?
The Quidditch player.
Victor Crumb?
Yeah. This is the troubling... So Crumble's always been a bit of a troubling character in his portrayal, because he's been portrayed as brutish, but not because he's the big, strong athlete, because he's foreign.
Yeah.
So in this particular chapter, he is portrayed as brutish. He is portrayed as immediately violent over the, not even the instigate, he's portrayed as immediately violent over the at the site of an old blood grudge.
Okay.
And he is portrayed as just pee hungry, right? The vagina hungry.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Right. So he's it's just, so when you're looking at Eastern Russia, when you're looking at Kazakhstan, when you're looking at Dagestan, when you're looking at this area of the world, there is a large Muslim presence. Mm-hmm. Islam is prevalent in that area. And like, I've never read his accent as German.
Okay.
I've always read his accent, like, if anyone is big on the MMA, he sounds to me like Habib.
Okay.
And he is from Dagestan, and he is Muslim. He is a Muslim. So that is sort of the portrayal. And he's got the... Crumble has the crooked nose, right?
Big old hook nose.
Yeah, so it's just troubling all around.
It's uncomfortable.
And and again, this is why your representation you've got to be careful with. You can't just throw people in there and think, well, I'll portray this person however I want, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all of these things working in conjunction. That he finds women disposable, and they're just good for one thing. That he is a brute, and that he is instigated to violence simply from seeing something.
The drop of a hat.
Right.
Yeah, be a completely different character. If we threw any other character in that situation and that character reacted to that, it would be different. But it just had to be Crumb. And this is a throwback, because we haven't really seen or heard anything from Crumb for years now.
Yeah.
So let's just throw him in here. So this was done purposely, obviously. And, I mean, let's be honest. We're not going to make a big deal about this symbol if we're not going to bring it back. So we're going to find out eventually.
Yeah, sure.
So moving on again to something more I'd like to talk about. Well, Voldemort's targeting wand makers. We've found out that Grigorovich is a wand maker as well, as Ollivander was. And that seems to be who old Voldemort is after. So it seems to be wand makers specifically.
Well, it is certainly a strategy of war that if you can't cut off someone's supply of food and water, you cut off their supply of arms.
Take off the war supply.
Yeah.
Cut down the war machine.
So, but it seems that wands are non-replaceable. Is that correct?
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
Wand chooses the wizard. We discussed this a little bit. I think it may be in last week. But it's not saying that one wand only associates with one wizard. Wands can be replaced. Wands can be repaired if needed.
Okay.
But the wand is specific to you. That wand will work for you. Your replacement wand will work the best for you. If I were to take Adrian's wand, it would not act right for me. It'd feel weird in my hand.
Well, I mean, you'd get used to it.
You're welcome. I mean, I just figured I'd throw you that one, just in case anybody's still watching.
Throw me a bone?
Anyway.
It's disgusting, Dalton.
You're welcome. Do you have anything else you want to say about the wands?
The wands, no.
Okay.
And there might be something deeper to that, but what I got from it was that it was a strategy of war.
Okay.
I have 2 more points. Is there anything you would like to...
A little bit, but we're getting towards the end of the last chapter, so if you want to make some points, let's make some points.
The garden gnomes, their official name, Gurnumblai Gardensai. Do you know what a gur is?
What is a gur?
A gur is a round tent.
Okay.
These are the types of things that gnomes are often portrayed as living inside, right?
Okay.
A numblai, I don't know what that means. It's not a real word, but numbling means numb, especially as it pertains to emotions.
All right.
So, what we're doing there is we're referring to a group of people by how they live and that they are less than human because they don't have emotions. My last point is related. On 141, that weird little woman, I think it is, who is talking to Harry and the guy who was close to Dumbledore, says, "You Weasleys, you breed like gnomes." This is a racist remark.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that? You've heard that.
Yeah.
We're both from the Midwest,
yeah.
So we've seen many racist things in our lives. This is something, and maybe it happens in other cultures, I don't know, but with white people have to find... So white people love hard work, right? When you're talking about stereotypes, white people love hard workers, right?
Okay.
Oh, we wake up at 9 and we're at work by 10 and we work till 7 and we come home and maybe we've got some time for the kids, but probably not. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's the stereotype. It comes from Germanic roots. These people need to demean hardworking people that the in-group whites want some way to other. Right?
Okay.
Now, the United States was founded on Protestantism, right? Which is notable for what? Protestant work ethic.
Okay.
These first 2, I don't know the order, but you fuck like blank. I believe that was originally directed towards Catholics. You fuck like Catholics.
Okay.
You got so many kids, you're like a Catholic. Catholics were not in-group whites. In-group whites were Protestant. Then, it became the Irish.
All right.
Irish immigrants were not in-group whites, so it was still okay to be racist against them. You fuck like Irish. You got babies like Irish. Irish, prodigiously hardworking people. But we had to find some way to other them. You don't just work hard at work, you go home and work hard in the bedroom, don't you? Mm-hmm. And you got all those mouths to feed and you can't feed them. Right? What is it today?
What is it today?
What is it? What group is this used to single out in today's world?
You tell me.
Mexicans.
Okay. Fair.
That is one of the big racist things that people say about Mexicans. You got so many kids. They come over here and they just pop out kids like rabbits. Right?
Right. If I may add a little bit to this. Now, this is coming from the same character who said, may I quote, "Another Weasley, you breed like gnomes." Just the next paragraph down, talking about the tiara, goblin maid, you know, been in my family for centuries. She's a good-looking girl, but still French.
Yeah.
So if there's any question...
Even right before that, goblin maid.
Goblin maid?
Right?
French?
Yeah.
At least it's not French maid.
Yeah.
We're okay then.
Yeah.
We're okay. It can be as racist as we want now. It's fine.
As long as the French didn't make it.
It's fine. One last thing I want to touch on a little bit here after we've got some good points down. I feel like this was a good week for Harry Potter. We don't get a lot of good Harry Potter weeks, but I feel like this was good.
Well, you feel like this was good because these were two very Dalton chapters.
Were they?
We haven't done anything. Let's celebrate.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, we celebrated yesterday. Let's celebrate.
We should celebrate multiple days.
Have a party.
Sometimes you have to celebrate the celebration. Like you survived the night before, you better have a drink to make sure you're okay. Anyway, at the very end of the wedding, we find out the ministry's been compromised. The government's been overthrown, and the minister is dead.
Yeah.
The king has fallen, however you want to take it. The minister's been taken out, assassinated, if you would. At this point, we are at a full-blown war stage.
La Roy est mort.
La Roy est mort. Oh, San Miguel, how I miss you. Thank you, TC. So where do we go from here? I mean, because at this point, we're in complete chaos. The government is gone at this point. There's no government backing. The school, which was your one safe haven, has now fallen as well. Where are we going? What are we doing next? Because the world is now in chaos.
So this is interesting from the standpoint of it's going to show you how J.K. feels about the magic world. Because often when a ruling party is decapitated, we get that through a mob boss being killed. We get that through a drug lord being killed. And what happens is there's a mad struggle for power, there is a power vacuum, and violence breaks out within, to use the term again, within the in-group.
Okay.
So the head mobster's knocked off, other mobsters are killing each other. But in a country, when we're looking at civilization, there is an order of secession.
Okay.
So it's going to say a lot about how she feels about the world she has established.
I appreciate you taking that route, and I appreciate you bringing up the snooty idea of civilization. Just so happens, the other day, sitting at home, Megan turns on the TV, and what's on? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2, the latter half of this. That's a 2-part movie. And we catch like the last 30 minutes, and something dawns on me. And my Adrian starts turning in the back of my head. I'm like, son of a bitch, it's all wrong. I want you to hang on to that civilization comment.
Okay.
Because I'm coming back to it with a fucking vengeance. I even wrote it down preemptively. And we're looking at the end of the book with this.
This isn't a 2-part book, is it?
No.
Okay.
Just 2-part movie.
You had me worried.
But we will be back next week with 2 more parts of Harry Potter, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 of Deathly Hallows. Adrian Reads Harry Potter, trucking right through the end here.
That's
Feeling
right.
good about it?
No,
All right.
not at all. But we're making progress.
We're getting there.
We are not for long.
If you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a like. We work hard on our Harry Potter videos. We always like to see a little bit of little kindness coming from your way. And if you want to help us out making great content like this here on Stripcover Lit, there's a link, as always, to our Patreon to be found in the description below.
You sure we're recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily, but I know I pushed the button, so that's all I can do for you.
Now I want you to keep it to yourself.